ever since Mark passed away, that Lorraine has wanted to take me doing some netting, so and wanted that on one of her tapes. And tonight she came over, and so I hope that we can get a good tape about it. And this art is called netting, and it's tying a knot like a fisherman's net. And it's not so difficult to do, but it's just like anything else, like learning to type or to learn to play the piano, a musical instrument. You have to spend a little time with it in order to try to learn to do it. And when I was a girl in high school, my elderly aunt, Aunt Llewellyn Nielsen, came to our town to visit my grandmother, Elizabeth Hurst. And she wanted me to learn to do this netting, and I had a sprained ankle at the time, so just to please her, I learned to do it, because she told me then that it was almost a lost art then, that not many people knew how to do it. And so I've been happy through the years that I learned to do it. And I filled the mission with my husband, Mark Humphrey, and in Canada. And one time we went to a fair, and I pulled a piece of this netting out of my purse, and the lady that had the handiwork in charge said that if I wanted to, I could stay there and demonstrate the netting, because there was a group of ladies there that had been demonstrating bobbin lace, and they were tired and wanted to go home. So Elder Humphrey and I went to our apartment and got some thread and some tracks, and we went back, and missionary tracks, and we went back, and I would tell people that this was a lost art, that not many people knew how to do it anymore. And then after I tell about that, then I'd tell them we were members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we're missionaries out there, and I'd give them tracts, and we got some real good contacts out of that experience that we had there. And one time, there's an Indian lady there that was in our mission, and I said, oh, she knew how to do netting, and I said, well, how? And so she showed me. She said, you want a big mesh, you use 2 fingers, and if you want a little mesh, you use 1 finger. And so through the years, we have 17 grandchildren, and when they would get baptized, well, then I would make one of these centerpieces for them, and then I would mount it on velour on a piece of pasteboard, and then they would, then I get a Book of Mormon and have their name printed on it and write our testimony of the book. And so all 17 of them have one of these centerpieces. And when I was expecting one of my daughters, the oldest daughter, I made a hood or a bonnet, and it's out of silkoline thread or kind of a rayon thread, and it had a little ruffle on the front of it, and each of my 3 girls wore it when they were babies, and then Christine's 2 girls wore it. And so I still have that little bonnet, and then I've taught people everywhere I've worked, and when I've been on the mission, I've taught quite a few to do the netting, and some of them have sent me a piece back that showed me that they learned to do it. And so it's been a very enjoyable thing for me through the years. Now, how to do the stitch is that like this, that in early days when they used to have flat meshes, they were little flat sticks on, and they used those different shapes, and then they would, and the netting needle itself is like a knitting needle with 2 prongs on it, and you wind this thread around it, and then when you run out of thread, then you have to tie a square knot like they do with the Boy Scouts. And in order to go along with your piece. And so the way you do this is that you put the thread over the needle. Oh, and something else about the thread. I like JP and DMC. A size 30 is what I use mostly. And you go over the needle, the knitting needle, and the third finger, and then up under the thumb, and bring the thread around the hand and to the little finger. And then we let the thumb out first, the middle finger, and we tie it. And I have the thread anchored from the center of my centerpiece down around my foot so that you have a good tension there. So I'll do another stitch. It's over the needle, over the third finger, up under the knitting needle, and around the hand. Let the thumb out first, the middle finger, and tie the knot. I've made all kinds of things with this knitting, like insertion for pillowcases or dress or scarves, and for handkerchiefs and centerpieces. And I've had one centerpiece that I had a pattern that I have a lady. There was a lady in Manti that sent me a pattern of it, and when I was in Monticello, I was taught school down there, and I taught school in Ferrum at a junior high, and I never taught the girl, and I taught home economics and homemaking, and I never taught the girls to knit because I thought the mothers would think I was wasting their time. But if I ever get it tied up in knots, then I get my knitting out and I tie knots. And you can't unravel it; it has to be cut out. So I'll just show you just 2 or 3 times how, after I get the stitch in, I can raise up and tie the rest of it because I've got so used to doing it. So through the years, I just kept doing enough of it so that I would remember the stitch. And I hope that some of the people that I've taught to do this will continue to do knitting. But it's a fun thing for me to do, and I enjoy doing it. Get those other 2 tied. When we did the other part of this netting demonstration, Lorraine thought it would be a good idea if we started from the beginning to show how you start a centerpiece or a doily, whichever you want to call it. So you take your thread, it's size 30 crochet cotton, the MCP or JMP, and measure it on your foot and have it as much as, so it's comfortable for you to work with. And then on the end of it, you make a square knot, and so that it won't slip. Then put that down at the bottom of your foot. Then take your netting needle and tie the thread into the piece that goes over your foot. Now this, when you get through with your netting and make your piece as big as you want it, then you have to cut this off and darn it around the middle. Now I need a pencil. It's over on the 7 loops on this pencil in the center of this, for the center of my centerpiece. So the stitch is done by putting the thread over the pencil and around the 3rd finger. Then take your netting needle and put it in between. And then put it in the center that way, and then pull it up and make your stitch. So again, that's only one stitch now. So over the pencil and over the third finger, under the pencil, and around the hand. And then we put the netting needle up in through the loop and into the one that is on your foot. Then we let the thumb out first, the middle finger, and tie it. Never let it out from the middle finger until you got the others the right way that you want it. So, okay, finger, middle finger, and tie it. Is that all you want to know? Over the pencil, and over the third finger, under the pencil, and around the hand. Then put the netting needle in under the pencil and through the loop, and let the thumb out and the middle finger, and then take the middle finger and tighten yours, and tighten your spread the way you want it. Then tie it. Put it good.
Talk.
Okay, over the pencil, over the third finger, around the hand. Then move your fingers. Your fingers aren't stationary. Let the thumb out first, the middle finger, and tighten it. Hold it tight as you pull the thread through. Over the pencil. And then out through there, through, and the thumb out first, middle finger, and tie it. Okay. Thumb, middle finger, and tie it. After I get 27 of these on here, then I take the knitting needle and pick up each stitch. That makes a circle. In order to finish your centerpieces or doilies, then you take those the piece the thread that has gone over your foot, around your foot, and cut it so it's about a foot long. Then take a darning needle and thread and put the thread on that, and then darn around the middle. Now I'm just planning to use one thread. Sometimes I use two, but one of the judges at the fair thought it looked too heavy, so I've gone to just using one thread, and then going back over this and try to make it even. It will look better if you can get it even. So if you go up and where these stitches, this 27 stitches are, and then go over and under all the way around. You have to try and, if it's going to look nice, you've got to do perfect weaving. So every one of those 27 stitches, you go around it that way, and then go 4 or 5 stitches, and then pull it so that it looks even. And then just keep doing each piece of thread until you get all 6 of those threads gone around at least once. And then fasten it off. So now I'm around the circle once. So then I take it and pull it so that it looks even. And then I'm going to just go back over here and take a stitch in there so it'll stay. And then I'm going to take a one that's back like this. Now we need the scissors, and we'll cut that off. Here were 2, but they seemed, this judge after the state fair, I thought it looked too heavy on the last one I sent up there, so I don't do that way anymore. Of course, I think there's a difference in judges. So, some people in finishing their centerpieces, like Ida Snow, taught her to knit. She does tatting real good, and she learned to do the knitting real good, and she just ties a knot on the back of it and doesn't do the weaving like I've been talking about. But I thought I liked the weaving on it. And my aunt used to do that, the one that taught me to do the knitting. So that you have to do that with each 6 stitches. Until you get all 6 of them, but you don't want to run that tape that